Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Roundup, the big chunky news show where we bring you up to date on all the things that are going on in gaming. And today, we've got quite a few things. We've got Bungie, we've got big stuff from EA, rumors of another Cyberpunk delay, and a whole bunch more. Now, the thing is, on this platform, most of our viewers aren't subscribed, so if you'd like to hang around and let us handle the various bits of gaming news research for you, then hey, give that sub button a click, and also the like one when you're down there. Help us out with the algorithm too, which is pretty important. Okay, thanks for that, and let's get going. We have to begin with Destiny 2 Beyond Light, where I'm asking myself, are Bungie running out of excuses here? It's got 63% on Steam for the user ratings, and it's just out. That doesn't look great to me. And looking through the early work-in-progress reviews, it also seems that Bungie are really being Bungie. They're reskinning enemies, they're not innovating, they're not delivering much new content in terms of quantity, but of course, they're still relying on the maximal reuse of content within the gameplay loop. Now, Steam users seem, some of them, happy enough for a bit more Destiny with lots of good updates that have happened, but a lot of other ones seem pretty fed up at this being sparse in terms of content and quite reskin heavy in terms of its development, its locations. Its new location is very cool, but the Cosmodrome is the Cosmodrome. Sure, a lot of people are nostalgic, but it kind of still is a thing you had in the past that's now in there as a part of the expansion. And the professional critics do seem to agree. Here's a quote from the Kotaku review. The Beyond Light era of Destiny 2 could end up being a more focused affair, or it could just suffer from the same content shortages that have dogged the game since release. That does seem rough but realistic, even though aspects of this do seem decent. So, with this happening, we're going to have a poke around, and if there is much here of interest, then we will do a deeper dive into this situation in a future video. So watch out for that. But yes, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, maybe there's a few question marks with it, and that is unfortunate because what we all wanted to have happen, what the narrative we wanted was that they split from Activision and things get way better. Some things have, some things have not. Okay. Let's move on. We have Electronic Arts' financial report for the quarter. So here's what you need to know. $910 million in net bookings, $644 million of which were live services. So we might complain about them, but damn if they don't bring in the beans. Now, speaking of live services, Apex Legends, a game the death of which was being called 2 months after launch, has had 24% year-over-year engagement increase in this quarter, but there is a little bit of drama with that we will cover later. Mobile was up a little, I think 4%, and 56% of sales were digital. Of course, what you need to know there is that digital equals higher profit margin. Obviously, there's less sort of, middlemen to take slices out of the pie. In terms of other things, EA Play has 6.5 million subscribers, and that is before their Game Pass deal. So I really have to wonder what that EA Play subscription number looks like in Q4, once that reporting comes in, and inclusive of the people who are getting it through Games Pass. Who knows, could that be 15, 20 million people with access to EA Play? If so, that's got to be good for EA. And then to round it off, if you want to basically know where the main success came from for EA, it's no surprise. Sports. It's Madden and FIFA. Obviously, they did super well. Now, another thing that was addressed in their call was next-gen pricing, where their CFO said that he did not want to weigh in on it just yet, and they will figure it out in the future when the time comes, but that the next-gen games, especially in a few years, will be absolutely incredible. So it wasn't much of an answer, though I think the real answer is pretty obvious. Yes, if they can. Apple did fantastically by just raising prices on the new iPhones a while back. And look, here's the thing, right? If you are not going to sell massively more units by accessing a new market, right? If you've sort of tapped the sports market and you're not going to have massive increases in that year over year, what can you do to increase your profits? Well, you can get more microtransaction money, which they are doing through their live service offerings, and you can get more money per sale, right? If you want an example from another industry, Netflix, facing a little bit more stagnant growth in some markets, I think in Canada, they've decided to increase the price, and I'm pretty sure they're they're doing that in the US as well. So you could sell 10% more FIFA copies, or you could increase the price of FIFA by 10% and see, do you lose 10% of your sales by doing that? And I think chances are that'll be no, because FIFA is FIFA. People are going to buy FIFA because they want FIFA. Now, on the pricing, broadly speaking, most companies have not made a firm decision in this space, though TakeTwo have said they're pretty happy to hit $70 on a game-by-game basis, and I imagine the rest of the industry will be thrilled if that can be the norm. I mean, hey, even for Microsoft, who've got their Game Pass, well, in a world where AAA games are a default of $70 or more, Game Pass will just look like a better and better deal, and that'll make them happy. Moving on then, but still speaking of live service revenue, that push has led to drama in Apex Legends, where the Season 7 Battle Pass was an absolute grindfest on launch. People basically felt that the XP needed to level was far, far too high, as was the daily gameplay commitment needed to actually realistically level up through the Battle Pass. Well, people have got their way. The devs have responded, XP requirements have been halved, weeklies now take far less time to complete, and the devs said that they missed the mark on this one. Now, on one side, they're saying that these various things they've done with the Battle Pass were really done to encourage new playstyles and new characters from players. And I think that is totally true in a way, right? It lines up with me, say, being in a Call of Duty game, seeing a new challenge, and because of that, trying a new gun, leveling that gun up through the challenge. And there you go, I've unlocked some fun new gameplay I may not have done otherwise. But of course, given the segment we just did in this video on EA's financials, many people also believe that this was balanced to incentivize, well, the microtransactions that come along with a season pass. You see, Apex has already erred on the side of pretty damn grindy and pretty damn expensive before. And it's kind of funny, Respawn have made the right decision in their response in terms of what they've did, but some of their words are a bit funny. I mean, they said, and this is a quote, that they're not masters of manipulation. That's a weird way to put it. I get what they mean, but really, it's a bit dramatic. And they've also said that they did just genuinely get it wrong. So, what do we believe? Was this a genuine mistake, or were they trying to increase the MTX revenue? Well, here's what I would say. Always look at the incentives. The incentives are there to get more microtransaction revenue, and the value proposition of a tier skip is higher when it's harder to attain a tier via natural gameplay. That said, if the game ends up being so grindy to the point where players have a better, more rewarding experience from Call of Duty Warzone, then obviously EA and Respawn would lose out because people would wander off. So I would say they probably made this a little bit more grindy in order to get more microtransactions, but I think they probably did that too much. And now they're probably trying to reach a happy medium. So, that's that story. It's the sort of thing we've always got to watch out for. Well, EA sure have had a lot of airtime in this video, but this segment is a good one. There's a little bit of a rumor that Star Wars Republic Commando could return. Basically what's happened here is the composer of the original game mentioned that he revisited its main theme for a project over the summer. He said it was fun to dust it off after 15 years, and he teased more news soon. Now that is pretty exciting. Is there going to be some sort of project that involves a remastered version of the Star Wars Republic Commando theme? And if that is the case, is it a remaster? Is it a re-release? Who knows? Now this timing initially seemed to sync up with a new job listing for a Star Wars title at EA Motive, the devs who did Star Wars Squadrons. Now this was debunked by Motive saying it was human error on Twitter, saying that the project is not Star Wars. So who knows if that's true, but it's all mysterious. That said, there is some movement going on with Republic Commando, and that would be pretty cool because that, by all accounts, was a cool game. I've not played it, so I'd be totally down for a remaster. After watching, say, Mandalore Gaming's review on it, it looked pretty interesting. And I would say then, these one-shot Star Wars games that are just good video games, that seems to be the vibe now for Star Wars games, so a project like this would fit. Also, a remake would make sense given the ties to Mandalorian Plus, Clone Wars being successful in Disney Plus, and there being a new Clone Trooper-based thing in Disney Plus as well, I believe. So yes, this would make sense in many ways, and I think people would actually like it. So here's to hoping that happens. Next up, and in remaster news, Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remaster was essentially nearly perfect. And what's good is it's now got an update, and that shows a bit more commitment. There is 100 new challenges across 10 sets to help players level up, and a new solo tour mode. So, stuff that's just giving you more gameplay within it. it seems like they're sticking with this game, and that is something that bodes well for the future, because almost all of Activision's recent attempts to dip into their legacy games library have been successful. They revived Crash, they're reviving Spyro, perhaps Tony Hawk as well. I think this all bodes well for people who just like good, honest video games that don't dick them around. It's been so refreshing to see some of those titles. So here's me actually wishing Activision success more here, because if the financials make sense to make good games, then good games will be made. Or so we hope. Next, leak time. A series of Starfield leaks from a few weeks ago have potentially been confirmed by none other than an employee's t-shirt. You see, the t-shirt has actually got the same logo that is seen on an astronaut's suit from a leak in September. So who knows? Now, that leak was basically a series of images that were supposedly from an early build of the game. So if iconography from those screenshots is now seen on an official Bethesda employee t-shirt, yeah, it totally adds legitimacy to those leaks. Now look, the leaks weren't massive, it was just a few screenshots, but as somebody who loves space and loves RPGs, yes, that looks good. I'm excited. Square Enix appear to be bearing the brunt of the Avengers' underperformance, and it is a hell of a brunt. Their HD games division, it's not like they've got an SD games division, but anyway, that division posted a $62 million loss for the Avengers launch quarter. Ouch. Net sales were down 30% on the previous reporting quarter, though that is of course the quarter when Final Fantasy VII Remake released. As we move on to their operating income, we see a similar story. They've moved from 12.5 billion profit to 6.5 billion yen loss. Ouch. Now, here's the thing. Japan-based analyst David Gibson has looked at all of these figures, and he claims they suggest the game cost almost $190 million to produce and market, but only sold 3 million units. Now, we know that it sold well enough in the PS4, but it struggled in other platforms, and we also do know the player count has struggled post-launch, and we also know that the character DLC and next-gen updates have been, of course, delayed to 2021. So overall, the core story here is the Avengers seems to be a big ouch in just about every regard. Not ideal for players, and seemingly not ideal for the devs, even though Crystal Dynamics are pretty dogged in saying that no, we are supporting this game for the long run. Speaking of delays, this is odd. Tiffany Tretmore has suggested a Cyberpunk 2077 delay. Another one to 2021. Now, the thing is, she has actually had a decent track record with leaks, and she has claimed to have heard unhappy things, as she puts it, and she has suggested that it could be pushed to 2021. Would I be surprised there? Normally, yes, given the insistence that this is the release date. But with CD Projekt Red's track record recently of overpromising on dates, and then having to delay them anyway, I would not be surprised. CD Projekt Red, I mean, they have reconfirmed the December 10th release date to IGN though, so that would suggest this leak isn't really that true, or is very unlikely. But that said, they also did reconfirm no delays up to the day before they announced the most recent one. That's hard. Now, much of the struggles here are seemingly with current-gen consoles, right? The base Xbox and PS5. It seems like they're basically just struggling to get the bloody game to work on them. And in fairness, I empathize with that. If you're trying to make a massive, super ambitious game, you're making it at the same time the PS5 and Xbox Series X are coming out, and your ambition then has to mash into a 2013 underpowered gaming box, man, that's a hard problem, and I totally empathize that they're having it, but that said, it's not an excuse for how they've handled the release and how they've handled some of their communications with their fans. That's a core fan base that have booked days off work only to be disappointed and have, yes, had their expectations toyed with. There's only so much people can get super hyped for something, see Keanu Reeves say it's time to seize the day, then the day changes. I suppose what Keanu says still stands, but to a lot of that core audience, this is super disappointing. Now, to me, it's also deeply disappointing. I'm playing The Witcher 3 at home right now again. I love that game, and I love what this company makes. But that said, we've got to be realistic about it. And I think we are reaching a stage here where they actually do risk. I mean, if this does happen, if this delay does happen, they are going to start to really dig into their core fan base and piss them off. And that would suck. Here's what I will say. Less efficient, less well-produced and planned development even if the game comes out good in the end, what it does mean is more delays, it means more bugs, and it means less content. Everyone loses out, right? So whatever happens, they need to capitalize on Cyberpunk's almost guaranteed success, and they need to develop better in the future. That's not backseat game development in my opinion. I think it's bloody obvious given what we've seen externally. Well, it's not quite the $7.5 billion that Bethesda cost, but Codemasters have been acquired by TakeTwo for $980 million. It's a lot of money. Now, this is a big enough addition. It brings Dirt, F1 Grid, and Onrush over to TakeTwo, as well as their newly acquired FIA World Rally Championship rights. So there you go, a big acquisition has happened in gaming, and the answer to why is simple: to diversify their annual output. This is something that the CEO Strauss Zelnick highlighted as a priority for them back in March, so it comes as absolutely no surprise that this sort of thing is going on. And speaking of things going on, this video is no longer going on because it has indeed finished. We've ran out of news. There will be news though tomorrow. I mean, hey, we've looking at this Destiny situation. There's a big thing coming up, just talking about if BioWare can actually redeem themselves realistically as they move into the next gen. So be sure to hit that sub button. We're making a lot of content. We're really trying to up our game, and yeah, we'd appreciate it if you stuck around for the ride. Thank you very much for watching, and with that said, I will see you next time. The big question is, can the very rainy rain be heard? Who knows?